Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it. We'll talk about it inside. Hey everyone, my name is Tom Bouchel and I'm from Rockaway Recycling and the iScrap app. And today's Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, and we're doing our first live stream in a few years, doing on a bunch of different platforms. Really excited for this. If you have questions, roll any type of questions in. We're going to try to get to those questions at the end. Little background, been in the scrap business for 17 years, started the iScrap app about 13 years ago. Become one of the biggest tools in the scrap metal world, where users, the scrappers, are using it to learn about prices near them, report prices near them, learn about material grades. And we just go over things every week. So what we want to do is start talking about what we've seen in the markets over the last week or so. So markets have been going back to where they were in the beginning of May. Before Memorial Day, we talked about that crazy run up in prices. Copper prices had a crazy 70-cent jump, then they went down. But what we've seen now is copper prices starting to recede a little bit. Today, for instance, we see markets down about 4.5 cents. Yesterday, we saw the markets down 8 cents. But where we are with the markets is similar to where we were in the beginning of May, which is still in a very strong position. That $4.40 level is pretty strong. I'd put a poll out recently asking people if they thought we were going to be getting closer to $4 copper or $5 copper next. And about 2/3 of you thought that we were going back to $4 copper, but who knows? All you need is a news cycle to change things. So markets right now are steady. When I'm looking at some of these, domestic demands for copper, it's July, right? We're going into the 2 hottest months of the year. We see low inventories on different metal exchanges, but prices really haven't moved. They really remain relatively stale. Even there's a little bit of a tight supply. What we're looking for is really more of a feedback from how the Chinese are going to be doing things, because we heard that they had a glutton of material. They weren't buying things as quickly, and they might be having some problems inside of the country when it comes to their real estate issues, their trillions of dollars of debt that isn't documented through their government programs. So there may be a problem coming out of China in 6 months, in 12 months, I don't know. But as the largest consumers of copper in the world, buying 50% of the demand, who knows where they're going to kind of push these prices. I don't think we're going to see $5 by the end of the summer. I don't see that happening, but crazier things certainly have happened. And that's been well documented throughout the years. But steel prices, we read an article, and we'll reference this real quick. We read an article on oilprice.net, and it talked about how a lot of steel makers are really anticipating a drop in the second quarter prices the second quarter earnings. And that's what we're going to start seeing happening. And that shouldn't come to a surprise as scrappers, right? We've been looking at these steel prices going down 3 months in a row. And unfortunately, the news that I have isn't great news, because markets didn't really change again. I guess it's better than going down, but we saw steel prices maybe go up $5 to $10 on a couple of heavier grades, but light iron and shred have continued to remain down. We've seen those prices reported online, and people are just saying, you move what you have to move. So sometimes when that happens, you might not like the market, but I never tell people to hold on to steel. When you hold on to steel, it's so heavy, unless you have a magnet and a crane in your backyard, which means you're your own scrap yard, it's just not worth holding. But we're going to pull up some of these steel prices that we've seen reported. And over the 45-day period, we've seen ups and downs on certain things. Automobile scrap, 164, cast iron, 173. When we look at light iron, 134. If we could just click on either light iron or shred for a second, these are really the bellwethers. And when you look at some of the prices that have been reported, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, you can see very similar prices, 160, 165, 180, all within a very close range, 5 to 7.5 cents, all in a very close range, and 5 to 7.5 cents is about 120 to 160 per ton. So you can see that 152 national average is where we are. But one of the things that manufacturers in the US and in other countries, when that summer hits, they shut down some of their furnaces for a few weeks to do major work and renovations and general upkeep. So I mentioned that for a few reasons. Reason one, if they're shut down, you would think that steel would just continue to come in and they would say, wave the white flag, stop, no more, because they can't process it. So that could cause delays and that could make the export market cheaper to ship out to, right? But we've also looked at these markets and said, okay, well, where's the demand? I believe that Nucor, which is one of the largest manufacturers and recyclers of steel, recently said that they're going to be cutting some of their new product by 10%. Well, why would that be? Lack of demand. The manufacturing industry we've seen is starting to slow down. Automakers have been seeing a slowdown, and is one of the largest consumers of aluminum, copper, steel, right? Whether it's an EV or a gas engine, those automakers need that material in, but they're seeing holdups at their dealers. And because of that, you're starting to see that domino effect kick its way back a little bit. So any questions, please let us know. This way we can get those answered by the end of this. Other markets, copper prices, again, relatively steady. When we're looking at some of the oil prices, we've seen them steady. And again, I try not to go heavy into politics, but right now it seems like we have a momentum where we could start to see oil and gas prices getting pushed down if we have a change in the president. And if that happens, that could affect some of the prices. So we're really watching those things, because I was listening to an oil executive this morning who said that a lot of their break-even numbers for pumping, drilling, doing all the stuff is around $65 to $70 per barrel right now. And that's due to the incredible inflation that we've seen over the last 3 years. So if that happens, it may take up to 2 years to see inflation prices starting to decrease, oil and gas manufacturing and production increasing. And it may not be until 2026 where we start to feel that loosening, I should say, of the oil prices. And that could start to help some of the markets, because of course, transportation and processing costs will go down. But again, if you're asking me, Tom, should I sell my scrap next week? Right? I try to give you news down the road to give you an idea what's going on. Generally, the summertime is not the best time to sell your scrap. But prices have been steady. Stainless is one of the items that I continue to say to hold on to. I know many friends of mine that are holding a lot of weight of stainless, and if they're holding hundreds of thousands of pounds, there's no reason that you can't hold hundreds or thousands of your own pounds of clean stainless steel. So when the market does jump, you really get a nice kickback on that. When I look at the nickel prices that goes into stainless, it's trading around 16,500. And recently it was at 21,000. So you're having big changes in prices right now. We'll pull up the national average for 304 stainless, which really is about as steady as you get at 33 cents a pound right now. And when you look at some of these prices here, 35, 24, 40, 30, 29, 40, they're all averaging out right around where the markets are. Rockway Recycling is actually paying the national average at 33 cents a pound today for 304 stainless. And these markets, again, they should have more of an impact. And we're really hoping that some of the new battery technologies that are coming out incorporates more nickel. And if it does, that should help push some of the recycling prices a little higher. But for now, it's just a lot of development and not a lot of production. Other things that we have seen going on, let's see here. I got notes. This is going to be a big topic, right? What's going to go on with the inflation and what's going to go on with the interest rates. And we're starting to see inflationary numbers decreasing month over month, year over year. And we might see a rate cut happen in September. What could a rate cut to the interest rates do to the scrap market? Well, the interest rates being cut will immediately inject capital into the markets. What does that mean? People are going to start investing because it's going to be cheaper to borrow money. When you can borrow money and pay 5% instead of 6%, 1% over whatever period of the loan, that's a lot of money. So if we do see a 1/4 point rate cut or even a 1/2 point rate cut or multiple rate cuts in the next 6 to 8 months, we may start to see a lot of companies that have parked cash on the sidelines or temporarily held their projects off and taking loans out. You may start to see them really pushing metal up. And that may start to see a push towards more people borrowing money, more people investing, more growth. And that may be where we start to see things kicking in. But I don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Now, brass prices, similar to copper, they're going to follow along suit. You know, brass is made of copper and generally zinc, or a mixture of different materials to make it into an alloy. And copper prices are strong, which means brass prices are strong. We'll pull up one of the national prices that we have for our general yellow brass right now, but we've seen those markets really at a nice level. We haven't changed our price at Rockway Recycling in a few weeks, which is nice. Here we have a national average at 205. That's a good number. We're happy with the 205. Brock, here you go. Do I see yellow brass going up more? I see yellow brass going up when copper goes up. Zinc is in demand right now. But until we start to see the steel markets really moving, where they can take that zinc and layer it on a lot of that steel, we're not going to see a huge increase in the zinc prices. But if we do start to see those copper prices moving back towards $5, we could start to see, you know, brass prices going to that 230, 240. And if you look at some of these reported prices, we do still have very strong numbers. 240 just a few days ago, 214, 228, 225. I believe Rockway Recycling, we're around 222 right now. So, you know, everything is right there, right? It's right there. And we could see some positive movement in the coming months with election, with oil prices, and then with those interest rates kind of kicking themselves in. Look how 222, I believe that's what it is. Look how fast you can report a price. Super easy. So when you know, a lot of people are on Reddit and they post their receipts, post your prices on here. It's going to help the community. You know, we read a lot of those Reddit forums as well. They're awesome. I was reading some this morning, people talking if it was yellow brass or red brass. And that's why a lot of our YouTube videos are so great to teach you a lot of these things, because when you ask questions, if you just get an answer, but you don't understand how or where that answer came from, a lot of our videos on YouTube are giving you those answers with long explanations. We tell you what scrapyards don't tell you, and that's why we've been around for so long. Let's switch over to RR Cats and the catalytic converter market. What have we seen in catalytic converter markets? You know, a lot of people really want those prices to move back to where they were years ago, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I still don't see that happening. I see very little demand for rhodium outside of the catalytic converter market. I see very little demand for palladium right now. Platinum went over $1,000 an ounce briefly today, so that's nice. But I don't think we're going to see converter prices go back to where they are, Trey. I really don't, until we start to see a big demand. You know, rhodium prices are $4,300 an ounce. They were $29,000. That's 7 times what they were today. So if we even saw a multiple up to 12,000, you could immediately see a 30 to 40% jump in your cap prices. But that's not looking very good right now. There's not a lot of uses for rhodium outside of catalysts. And if you go back to what I said a few minutes ago, the auto industry is hurting and converting to electric vehicles. So it may be a wait and see thing until new technologies really approach. Now, I'd like to answer some of the other questions that we've had coming in. Looks like Brock has a couple of here. Do we see electric motors going up as well? If they are, Brock, it's going to be a couple of cents per pound, nothing really crazy. Small electric motors right now are averaging 21 cents a pound when it comes to reported prices. You can see some of the markets here ranging 15, 20, 24. So one thing you can learn about electric motors is, Are they aluminum or are they copper? Are they worth taking apart? Are they not worth taking apart? There's a lot of videos that we've made talking about taking apart sealed units and taking apart motors that you can definitely check out, and that'll give you a little bit of an idea. To answer your next question, Brock, car batteries, we've actually seen an increase in lead prices, and car battery prices should be jumping up. I'm actually going to be raising my prices tomorrow. I just had a 2-cent increase from the people that we sell to. Very nice surprise. National average for batteries at 15 cents right now. So 2 cents on there might be good. And don't forget, just because your scrapyard has a price posted, if you have 1,000 pounds and you came to my yard, I'd give you 3 or 4 cents more, right? If you have 1,000 pounds of batteries, ask your scrapyard what you can do to prepare them. We have customers that take pallets from us, put cardboard down, put batteries on them. So when they get here in their trucks, we take the forklift, we pick it up, and they're doing the work for us, and we'll pay them for doing that. So that's kind of how I look at a lot of those things. Overall, though, considering it's July and it's the middle of the summer, I really like where the markets are going. Aluminum markets have been really strong, Matt. We've seen prices really stabilizing. If we could pull up the sheet aluminum prices, kind of our bellwether of the aluminum market, prices have stabilized. And if you look, we're averaging 51 cents a pound. We're paying 52 cents at our door. And we actually have a special going on this week. We're paying 62 cents if you use one of the promo codes at Rockaway Recycling that we have for our loyalty programs. But 52 cents is what we're paying. And if you look at some of these other prices here, they're right in line, 52, 55, 47, 60. So aluminum is strong. We've seen the Midwest prices staying over $1.20 for trading numbers. So that's really good. A lot of people are moving materials, and as people are trying to become more fuel efficient and save energy, aluminum is a great alternative to use instead of steel. We've seen Ford implementing a lot of aluminum in things like their F-150s. We've seen Tesla doing it as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this progression goes moving forward. We're just going to see how the markets are moving. It'll be interesting to see, but that's kind of what's going on overall. But markets are strong, middle of the summer. We're happy with the prices. We're happy with where things are. Hopefully we'll see an interest rate cut starting in September, and that will really give us a good idea on how we can have the markets moving going into the third and fourth quarter with the presidential election. And that will start to give us a picture and a better outlook for 2025. So this is our first live recording in a couple of years. We were out there on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, YouTube. I think is that it? Instagram, maybe Instagram one day. So hopefully many of you got some questions in. We got some answers out there. Please keep asking these questions afterwards on YouTube. This is always available along with all of our channels. Don't forget to report your prices on the iScrap app, whether it's online, the free app that you download on your smartphones. We appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, scrappers, I'm Tom Bushell, and I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for watching our video. For $2.99 a month, by becoming a member, you can get access to early videos, member-only videos, merchandise discounts from our store, and priority comments that we answer before answering any other scrappers. Click the link below to learn more. Until next time, scrap you later.